Hi friends, I'm going to show you guys how I make a creamy chicken pasta. As always, all ingredients will be listed down in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I have here 5 chicken breasts that I washed and prepped and patted dry. And then I'm going to be adding in about 2 tablespoons of oil. This is just going to work as a binder for me when I put the seasonings onto the chicken. So next up, I have a little bit of salt that I'm putting in. That's like about maybe half a teaspoon. You don't have to add that. Next, I'm adding in some onion powder. That was a lot. So that's maybe about 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And then next up, I'm going to be adding in some smoked paprika. 2 here. This is just going to work as a color. Paprika don't really have taste. Next up, I'm adding in some garlic and herb seasoning. If you don't have that, any all-purpose seasoning works. And then this is 1 teaspoon of my lovely green seasoning that I put on almost everything. So I'm just giving everything a massage to make sure that all that flavor gets coated onto the chicken and all the flavors are distributed evenly, because we don't eat no food that, that don't have no seasoning and thing on there, okay? Boom. So I'm going to let this marinate for a bit, for maybe a couple of hours. And then I'm putting it in my air fryer on 370 degrees for 20 minutes. And I flipped it over at the 10-minute mark to the other side so that it's cooked evenly. So I have 2 cups of pasta I'm using. That's rigatoni. You can use any pasta of your choice that I boiled ahead of time. So now I'm going to be cooking down my spinach. So I'm just putting in some olive oil in the pan. That is 2 cups of spinach, and it looks like it's a lot, but if you know spinach, you know spinach wilts. So by the time this thing cooked down, it was barely anything. So then next up, I'm going to be adding in. Okay, so while the spinach is cooking down, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the chicken breast. Since it has been cooked in the air fryer, I'm gonna cut it down into some pieces here, and I'm going to use like 2 of them for the final presentation that you will see later on. So once I did that, I went back to the spinach, and as you can see, it cooked down whilst I was cutting it, the chicken, sorry. So now I'm adding in just a little bit of chopped red onion that I had in my fridge. If you have shallots, you can use shallots as well, but I'm using what I have. We got to improvise. So next up, I'm just adding in some garlic cloves. This is about 2 garlic cloves here that I'm just sauteing along with the spinach here, just to give it that additional flavor. And then don't forget, we're going to use that same flavor that we're going to be making the cream sauce with. So this is about 2 cups of heavy cream that I'm using just to start to build up my sauce and thing. So then I'm just using my garlic and herb seasoning just to give it a toss, and then some smoked paprika again for a little bit of color. And then I am adding in some red pepper flakes. That is solely optional, but I like my pasta dishes to have like some type of heat to it. Not that much, but just enough. And then just a dash of nutmeg, which is totally optional. I like the flavor that nutmeg brings to the mix. So I'm just going to give this a mix, and I'm just letting it like cook it down for a few minutes before we go in and add in the rest of the ingredients. And I'm making a mess, but carrying on, I'm putting in a little bit of pasta water that I have reserved, but that's optional. You don't have to do that. So now I'm adding in some Parmesan cheese. In total, I added about a cup of Parmesan cheese. I did it little by little, because if you put everything at once, it might clump up the cheese, and which means that the cheese will separate from the oil, which is not good, and then you have to start this all over again. So I also went in, I added in some mozzarella cheese as well. Not that much, just a little bit. So I'm just letting like the flavors come up. And then also too, I am tasting for flavor, which you don't see here. And you can taste for flavor too. And if you don't think is enough flavor, add more to what you like. So I just threw in the chicken in here to just cook with the pasta and the sauce. And then I'm going to be adding in my pasta as well to this dish. And I let it cook for like an additional 5 minutes. Like it looks like it has a lot of liquid here, but it don't really, because once you cook pasta tends to like, the sauce tends to absorb inside of the pasta. So even though if it's looking watery, if you decide to make this recipe, it really wasn't, because eventually all that nice sauce seeped into the pasta, and this turned out very, very well. But a quick simple meal that you can make for your friends, your family, anybody, or even yourself. So friends, try this recipe out. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for taking the time to check out my video. Thank you for watching. Until next time.